Because she was born with a head of pink hair, she was raised from a young age to be the crown princess consort, just to marry the crown prince when she grew up. But 18 years later, she was told the divine oracle had made a mistake. She thought the crown prince would not abandon her. But what she got was a, let's break off our engagement. In ancient times, the first saintess and the emperor built the empire together and helped the nation prosper. It is said that with a single gesture, the saintess could cure tens of thousands of people. With just one word, she could stop wars. Because of this history, the divine oracle proclaimed that a child with the same sacred colors as the first saintess will become the crown princess consort. And CIA was this chosen girl. She was thus forced to separate from her parents and grew up in the cold palace. The only thing that kept her going was the warmth of the crown prince. He was always by her side. But now, she wanted to make him stay, she wanted to beg him. But looking at his cold eyes, she resolutely agreed to break the engagement and turn to leave. When she woke up the next day, there were no maids to attend to her. Do even the servants kick someone when they're down? A commotion was heard outside. She wiped away her tears. A girl with twin tails and a Heim cut burst in. Looking at her pink hair, the same as her own, could it be? Hello, I am the new master of the divine oracle. CIA smoothed her hair. I don't believe I gave you permission to enter. The girl ignored her gaze and looked around on her own. I just came to see what my bedchamber will look like. Also, she picked up the crown from the dressing table. From now on, this is mine too. To think there's such a foolish person in the palace, and she's even been named the saintess. How ridiculous. Although the divine oracle has changed, no one has said this room is yours yet. Say, is said sternly. His Majesty the Emperor has not ordered me to leave here. I am still the crown prince's fiancée, and you're just a lowly girl from a ducal house. Someone, throw her out for me. Watching Nivea being dragged away, screaming and struggling, CIA collapsed weakly onto the sofa. The crown prince, for a woman like that, abandoned me. How will you repay this price? Born as a duke's daughter, and adored by the world with the halo of saintess. 18 years later, just because the divine oracle said it was a mistake, the true saintess became an imposter. The crown prince coldly broke off the engagement. The new saintess came to make trouble, and now even the young ladies of the duchies are mocking her behind her back. Who do you think you are? You used to bow and scrape before me, and now you dare to gossip about me? Get lost. Is this what they mean by everyone pushes a falling wall? She ran back to her room in anger. Waiting for her was her loyal hound, Asha. He is a top-grade sharp sword placed in the imperial city by the ducal house. At this moment, he knelt on one knee and kissed CIA's hand. Is there anything you need me to do, master? Indeed. CIA gave a wicked smile. Go and start a rumor for me. I want everyone to know that I'm not to be trifled with. In a beautiful courtyard, a silver-haired man was looking up at the sky. Reporting to your holiness the Pope, the former saintess, Lady CIA, and the current saintess, Lady Nivea, are both embroiled in scandals. Rumor has it that Lady CIA committed fraud and bullied her servants, and Lady Nivea kidnapped and abused children from the slums. Oh, a smile played on the man's lips. How interesting. Has it started so soon? CIA, don't be hasty. You'll be mine. I can't wait to meet you. Give the order. Everything proceeds as planned. Meanwhile, CIA was packing her bags, preparing to return to the ducal estate. The only thing she really needed to deal with was the engagement ring from the crown prince. She summoned a maid and instructed her to give the ring to His Highness. Next, she organized her wardrobe, busying herself for half the day. She decided to throw away the clothes she had custom-made with the crown prince. Just then, the maid returned. She stammered, "My lady, His Highness the Crown Prince requests that you return it to him in person." Walking into the reception room, the dim light illuminated the face she used to see every day. CIA couldn't forget the beautiful times of the past. She still loved him, but she couldn't forgive him. I've come to return the ring, as you requested. It's on the table. I'm leaving. Are you in such a hurry to leave? He was slightly angry. He grabbed her arm, and CIA, losing her footing for a moment, was pulled tightly into his embrace. No, this is too close. Just because the divine oracle changed after 18 years. CIA went from being the true saintess to an imposter. Even her childhood sweetheart, the crown prince, cast her aside like an old shoe. When she returned the engagement ring, the crown prince seemed hesitant to speak. Perhaps he still had some lingering feelings for her, but it was unforgivable. For all the years she had dedicated, she decided to take revenge. Late at night, A message by carrier pigeon from her father gradually appeared in the firelight. Earlier, she had ordered Asha to spread the rumor that the new saintess was abusing children from the slums. It was very successful, but the letter now mentioned that Nivea had actually used her family's honor and her divinely given status as the saintess to swear that she had never harmed any commoners, easily quelling the public outcry. CIA summoned Asha and had him inform her father of the new plan overnight. The next morning, the Chamberlain informed CIA about her return to the ducal house. There's been a landslide along the road. You were temporarily unable to leave the palace. As expected of father, he handled it so quickly. She had originally planned to leave the imperial city immediately, but now she would stay in the palace for a few more days to gather more information on the new saintess. She looked pitiful and lovely. How could the new saintess allow her to remain in the palace? Last time, she came to her door to drive her away. This time, she also heard that all the money sent by the temple for developing the territory was spent by her on dresses and jewelry. So arrogant. How can she tolerate me? It's an outrage to both gods and men, the Chamberlain said angrily. How could such a person become the new crown princess consort? You're a child I've watched grow up. As long as you are in this palace for one more day, I will never let you be wronged. The door to the main hall was ajar. This was also a scene CIA had prepared in advance, deliberately leaking bad things about the new saintess, hoping the people in the palace would spread the rumors well. Looking at the letter in her hand, the effect of the second wave of rumors was indeed good. Now, she needed to pay attention to another power, the Pope, the master of the divine oracle. If rumors could only temporarily use the words of the common people, then the one who could truly shake the foundation was the master of the divine oracle. The saintess is a child of the temple. To be an enemy of the saintess is to be an enemy of the temple. Sooner or later, they will step in to help the new saintess. I must prepare in advance. What kind of person is the current pope? Wanting to monopolize CIA, the Pope didn't hesitate to use the false saintess identity to pull her down from her pedestal. And when he heard she was investigating him, he deliberately obscured his own information. What on earth was he planning? Meanwhile, CIA was enjoying afternoon tea with her maid. She had previously learned that the new maid was the daughter of the Portis family. She intended to win her over, simply because her older brother was the crown prince's aide. Azel mentioned that her brother had been very worried lately. The imperial city might become an enemy of the temple again. It was said that the parts originally managed by the temple were to be handed over to the imperial city. CIA was secretly alarmed. They had already appointed the new saintess as the crown princess consort, according to the divine oracle's instructions. How could the two sides come into conflict? Hello, my lady. CIA's thoughts were interrupted by a cloying voice. It was the crown prince and the new saintess, Nivea, arriving together. The two were casually linking arms. Was this a demonstration? Nivea was as arrogant as ever. Her greeting was a provocation in disguise. CIA still didn't give her any face, teaching her a lesson right in front of the crown prince. The crown prince watched them argue in silence, not saying a word, making it impossible to guess what he was thinking. Nivea whispered coquettishly, asking the crown prince to leave with her. But the crown prince coldly sent her away. Nivea glared at CIA. Helpless, she could only leave in embarrassment. The two were left alone in the greenhouse. The crown prince suddenly stepped forward and approached her. He warned CIA not to make any more moves. He was well aware of her actions these past few days. CIA retorted domineeringly, "You no longer have the right to make demands of me. I'm doing this for your own good." "For my good? You'd abandon me for my own good." She angrily left the crown prince and swept away. Walking out of the greenhouse, she felt someone following her. She turned around to see it was Nivea. She said she already knew that the culprit who spread the scandals was CIA. She also took the opportunity to show CIA her ring. Wasn't it the engagement ring CIA had returned to the crown prince? CIA's heart ached, but she remained calm on the surface. "Are you that happy wearing someone else's secondhand goods? I don't care if you have your reasons. Getting even is my nature." After angering Nivea into leaving, Asha appeared from a hidden spot. He had been secretly protecting CIA all along. He brought news that CIA's brother was about to return from the battlefield. That's great. And that child will be back too. I have another useful pawn in my hands, she thought. The one who went to war is coming back soon. CIA's heart was filled with anticipation. When she woke up the next day, CIA was surprised to find her bed covered in fresh flowers that you're awake. CIA looked up in surprise. The person who was supposed to return tomorrow was standing before her, holding a bouquet of flowers. His eyes were clear, his smile shy, just like he was 3 years ago. He was the crown prince's only younger brother, and the emperor's illegitimate son, Alfredo. He threw himself into CIA's arms, calling out sister coquettishly. Who could resist such a cute, clingy young man? CIA's thoughts drifted back to their childhood. Back then, because of a small act of kindness on her part, the young man, who was isolated by everyone due to his sensitive status, latched onto her. He stuck to her voluntarily and couldn't be shooed away until he was sent to the battlefield by the Empress 3 years ago. Alfredo, enjoying CIA's embrace with a blissful expression, said that he was now an adult, old enough to give himself as a gift to CIA. He's such a flirt. After confirming that CIA's engagement was broken, the little wolf dog was overjoyed. He eagerly invited CIA to have breakfast with him. Unfortunately, CIA rejected him directly. However, the little wolf dog was not discouraged. After leaving CIA's room, a determined smile appeared on his face. After shooing away the little wolf dog, CIA finally breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, the servants in the residence were preparing for the upcoming welcome banquet for the returning warriors. CIA was thrilled at the thought of herself, the outdated crown princess consort, appearing at the banquet and causing trouble for the crown prince and the new saintess. And this was a rare opportunity to strike at her opponents. But what specific method should she use? CIA summoned Asha. Asha brought a message from her father. The fake saintess's family, upon a single scandal, has withered. A major merchant guild provides them with financial support. Their family had colluded with the temple even before the fake saintess came to power. It's rumored that the high priest and the fake saintess are secret lovers. CIA was a bit skeptical. After all, clergy are not allowed to fall in love. However, this matter also gave CIA an idea. The enemy's defenses could be broken from within. Do something for me. Go and seduce Lady Nivea. Under Asha's astonished gaze, CIA issued a new order, using the little wolf dog to blatantly seduce the new saintess and poisoning her wine. She also caught her in an indescribable act with the high priest. Revenge is truly satisfying. 3 days ago, from the mouths of the thugs sent by the new saintess to assassinate CIA, she learned that the crown prince and Nivea would attend the warriors' victory banquet. CIA then plotted with her maid on how to make Nivea a disgrace at the banquet. That night, CIA entered on the arm of her victorious brother. Her powerful aura was not the least bit diminished by having lost her saintess status. While Nivea was foolishly chatting with other noble ladies, CIA, without anyone noticing, put the hallucinogen her father had sent into her wine glass. Seeing Nivea's steps begin to falter, CIA took the initiative to pull her close and provoke her in a whisper. I fabricated and spread all your scandals. Nivea already had a fiery temper, and under the influence of the drug, she couldn't help but blurt out, when I become a crown princess consort, the first thing I'll do is make you kneel at my feet. The maid came over to protect her mistress, but was slapped by Nivea. The drug's effect gradually intensified. Nivea couldn't control her emotions and ended up hitting CIA as well. At this moment, CIA transformed into a little lamb, making everyone at the banquet feel sympathy and affection for her. The crowd began to condemn Nivea's poor character. Yes, such a shrew qualified to be the crown princess consort. Nivea roared, stop acting. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the gods for doing this? CIA retorted, will I be the one punished, or will it be you, who falsely claims to speak for the gods? A complex expression appeared on Nivea's face, making CIA even more certain that there was something wrong with the divine oracle. Nivea stumbled and fell to the ground. CIA lost her footing, but fell into a gentle embrace. Looking up, she saw it was His Highness the Crown Prince. Nivea left in shame, but the Crown Prince pulled CIA and pinned her against the wall. Didn't I warn you not to cause any more trouble? He touched her face, his expression not one of blame, but of concern. Instead of blaming me, you should keep a better eye on your new saintess. The Crown Prince said nothing more, only pulling her hand for a deep kiss. What on earth is he trying to do? After pushing the Crown Prince away, CIA went to the rooftop alone for some air. Asha appeared from a hidden spot, bringing CIA an explosive discovery. The drunken Nivea was being intimate with the high priest. Can you be mine? The dagger before her was covered in blood. The first time they met, this man wanted to kidnap her. After the ball, CIA told her brother the news Asha brought about the new saintess's affair with the high priest. Nivea was no peerless beauty, nor did she have any outstanding talents. What could make the high priest willing to break a taboo to be intimate with her? Her brother suggested killing the high priest and faking his suicide, leaving a note saying the divine oracle was fake, they were lovers. And that's why he made her the saintess. Unable to bear the guilt of the taboo he had broken, he chose death. CIA, however, considered that killing a clergyman would incur divine punishment. Moreover, the divine oracle was received by the Pope and several priests together. Killing him wouldn't solve all the problems, so she first asked her brother to continue investigating. After parting with her brother, CIA returned to her chambers alone. Don't move. A person of high status wants to see you. Someone suddenly appeared from behind and covered her mouth. CIA wasn't afraid. She threw the sulfuric acid she carried with her, forcing the person back. The next second, she thrust a dagger through his shoulder. Stop. A white light sucked her dagger away. A silver-haired man descended from the sky. CIA couldn't help but be frozen by his cold aura. A white light flashed in his palm, instantly healing the kidnapper's wound. I had him do it. I am the master of the temple. This was the absolute authority that even the emperor couldn't easily provoke. The Pope. CIA feigned composure. What do you want with me? Can you be mine? I'm no longer the saintess. What value could I have for you? The Pope's eyes were terrifying, yet held confidence and pride. Oh, you really think the divine oracle has changed? Back in her chambers, a maid came in to announce that the crown prince had summoned her. Your Highness, why aren't you with your new saintess? Why do you always bring her up? Can't you just ask me how I am? Do you not care even if I'm taken away from you? CIA couldn't suppress the anger in her heart. From childhood, I lived for you, and you abandoned me overnight. Have you ever considered my feelings? I don't need you anymore. I didn't want to drag you into a marriage you didn't want. Asha, standing before her, shed tears of heartache. A few days after the ball, the young ladies of many noble families once again surrounded her, not only giving gifts but also constantly flattering her. Although CIA had acted at the ball to gain sympathy and had also embarrassed Nivea, she was no longer the saintess. To be flattered like this meant something must have happened. She sought out Asha and learned of a rumor that the Pope wanted to make CIA the next saintess, but it wasn't official yet. This was a contradiction. In the Empire, saintess has two meanings. One is a person with powerful sacred abilities, on par with the Pope, who worries about the well-being of the people. The other meaning is that this position is for the Pope's partner. People in the temple cannot marry or fall in love with others. But the Pope is an exception. This is a reflection of the Pope's privilege and authority. In that case, the Pope wants her to marry him. After their last meeting and his failed attempt to kidnap her, he then secretly snuck in her room at night while she was sleeping. It seems the Pope really has designs on her. What do you plan to do? Stop treating yourself as a tool. I will give my life for you. Her brother wanted to take CIA away from the palace to live a peaceful life at home. But CIA decided to stay in the palace for the time being. Has the divine oracle really changed? Is someone plotting to use this as an opportunity to strike at her family? What are the Pope's intentions toward her? She had to figure it all out. Brother, I might be kidnapped in a few days. The crown prince won't let me act so recklessly. Please arrange for some men in advance. In the night order, that night, a carrier pigeon brought a secret letter from her mother, asking her to find a book that recorded the illegal activities of the nobility. That kind of book detailed which nobles had committed crimes like bribery or illegal dealings, and how to punish them. It even listed the crimes of the royal family. What does mother want this for? She tiptoed into the royal library. Could it be hidden up high? She lost her footing for a moment, but fell into a warm embrace. Sister. It was Alfredo. For men, pestering her isn't enough. Now her brother is rushing to introduce her to new men. Alfredo helped her find the book she needed. Her mother's task was finally completed. This morning, her brother came to tell her that his plan to return to the ducal territory had changed. On the way home, An infectious disease had broken out in the territory belonging to the temple, but the imperial city had not provided any support. CIA considered that this might be a conspiracy by the royal family. The emperor wants Nivea to be the crown princess consort, according to the divine oracle, to bring peace and stability to the empire. But CIA's political talents, cultivated over so many years, could not be easily discarded. So now, she was very concerned about the rumor that the Pope wanted her to be the saintess. No matter what, she had to ask the Pope for clarification when she saw him today. Learning that his sister had an appointment with the Pope today, he assigned his most trusted man to protect her. CIA. This handsome man is the vice captain of the 4th Night Order. Hylan, why did you arrange for him? Because I feel he'll be your type. The two of them arrived at the temple. The temple guards stopped them upon seeing someone from the imperial city. After all, the temple and the royal family had never been on good terms. CIA calmly brushed her hair aside. The temple guards automatically made way. The pink hair was proof of her identity. Welcome. Have you been well these past few days? Let's get straight to the point. That's right. The rumor that you are about to become the temple's saintess was spread by me. I want you to be my partner. What use could I be to you? Besides, I'm not a submissive person. Are you content to be a puppet of the royal family? Recently, CIA had been speculating that the change in the divine oracle was a fake, a conspiracy by Nivea and the high priest. But she had no intention of becoming the Pope's partner either. If that's all you have to say, I'd like to leave now. Wait, the Pope took out the former Pope's last will. The divine oracle that only you could bring peace and tranquility by becoming the crown princess consort. It was a lie from the very beginning. What? It's not that the divine oracle changed recently, but that it was a lie from the start? Then what have I been living for? What was all my effort over the years for? Calm down. If I told you that the part about you becoming the crown princess consort was fake, would you be happy? The true divine oracle is that you will bring peace and tranquility to the empire, but you don't have to become the crown princess consort. The emperor has been using the divine oracle all along, treating you like a puppet. Besides, marriage for most nobles in the empire is just a transaction. Even if it's not the path they should take, they will walk it for the sake of money. You were brought to the palace as a child, forced to separate from your family, confined in the palace to study politics. The emperor cruelly hoped you would push past your own limits. If that's not exploitation, what is? Your Holiness, you seem to have some misunderstanding. His Majesty the Emperor never forced me. She looked out the window. Do you see the clock tower over there? I was the one who wanted to build it. At the time, the nobles' opposition was very strong, calling me extravagant. But I shut them up just by saying I wanted it, because I wanted the common people who don't have clocks to be able to tell the time. And a landmark building would also increase tourism revenue. I confirmed that what I was doing was meaningful. The same goes for studying politics. Helping the royal family with their worries was also my own choice. It was a meaning I created, and it was brought to me by this position. However, since your Holiness is so considerate of me, I'm now seriously considering joining forces with you. To get revenge on that heartless man, he muttered to himself, "This woman is truly strong. She doesn't blame others. Her ambition isn't for power itself, but for the sense of accomplishment that power brings. In that case, I must hold my ground for now and try to tempt you. Well then, that's all for today. You can use my name as you please." CIA left the temple. Outside, a crowd of gossip mongers had already gathered. Having personally confirmed that CIA indeed had a connection with the Pope, the nobles began to shower her with flattery. Others are still praying. What's all this noise about? The person who rebuked the crowd was none other than the high priest who had an ambiguous relationship with Nivea. CIA walked out of the crowd with a composed expression and apologized on behalf of everyone. But she felt the high priest become nervous upon seeing her. How is your relationship with His Highness the Crown Prince now? After leaving the temple, CIA was pulled away by the crowd for afternoon tea. Everyone was complaining about how the high priest had just scolded them for being noisy outside the temple. At this moment, a croaky voice sneered, "She's no longer the crown princess consort, yet she still lingers in the palace." This little-known pro-crown prince faction member seems to want to use this to probe her current relationship with the royal family. Excellent. I need someone just like this to spread information and re-establish my position. Do you think I still care about the position of crown princess consort? Rather than that, it's more like His Highness the Crown Prince wants to keep me. Sister, You don't need to waste your breath on these people. It was her brother who had come to pick her up. The siblings changed in her riding gear. Her brother was taking her somewhere. Actually, I've always been curious. Why was brother so eager to go to the battlefield? Because more than being a hero loved by the people, I was happier to have obtained that piece of land. Others thought it was useless, but I knew it was a hidden gem mine. The siblings arrived at a place where blades were made. Her brother had intended to give her a dagger for self-defense. But unexpectedly, the dagger they had arranged for was put on hold due to various problems with the shop. The siblings walked out of the shop. At the entrance, they met a little girl selling flowers. How dare that child approach a noble? Isn't she afraid of being taken away? The people around were all murmuring. CIA saw that the girl was dirty, but her eyes were very clear. She gently bought her flowers and asked about her family situation. Watching the girl's departing figure, her brother keenly noticed that the child had an infectious disease. It's best not to get too close, but CIA suggested to her brother that they go to the slums to see the infectious disease from 4 years ago. The crown prince had decided to burn the village back then. Although it promptly stopped the spread of the plague and earned him praise from the common people, it actually cost many lives. So this time, with this plague, CIA wanted to find a doctor to treat them personally. The siblings decided to go to the slums now to check the situation. Fire, run. Thick smoke filled the air and flames raged. A woman fell heavily to the ground. She couldn't crawl anymore. Take my hand. It was CIA and her brother. At this moment, the good show directed by CIA and her brother began. During the plague 4 years ago, the crown prince, in order to appease the people, burned everyone in the affected village to death. He solved the root of the epidemic and received praise. But no one cared for the dirty and lowly commoners. But this time, CIA couldn't bear to watch innocent people die tragically again. On one hand, she had people disguised as the crown prince's men set a small fire. On the other, she arranged for doctors to treat the refugees and move everyone to a safe place. When this story spreads, people will naturally compare her to the crown prince. One cruel, one merciful. Everyone will praise her noble character and develop a dislike for the crown prince. This is one of the prices for the crown prince breaking the engagement. My lady noble, the little flower girl from the daytime, called out to CIA. The even thinner boy next to the girl caught their attention. The boy coughed incessantly, and even his fingernails had turned black. Could it be the highly contagious paraderia disease, where parasites grow in the body? The siblings were together every day, yet the sister hadn't contracted this serious illness. And she could even climb mountains every day to pick flowers. CIA found the girl's constitution peculiar. Upon CIA's inquiry, the girl told her they were half-siblings with the same mother. Her own father was from the kingdom of Asiola. That was a land of extreme cold and constant war, where adult women held power over men, possessing great stature and strength. That I'll give you 2 choices now. One is to come live and be treated at my house with your brother. The second is you can wait for the doctor's treatment and then live in a new home. You didn't despise my brother for being dirty, and you bought my flowers. If I can be of help to you, I'm willing to go to the ducal house. Thank you. You will be a great help to me. After finally dealing with the matter of the slums, the siblings could finally breathe a sigh of relief. But a servant suddenly reported, Her Majesty the Empress has been poisoned and has fainted. What? CIA, who was brought to the imperial city as a child and raised to be the empire's political puppet after losing her Saintess halo, was ruthlessly abandoned by the crown prince and bullied by the new Saintess. She was unwilling to exit the stage so quietly. She wanted to make the crown prince pay the price for breaking the engagement. In the process of investigating the new Saintess, she discovered her indescribable relationship with the temple's high priest. And the Pope, who descended from the heavens and showed her special concern, told her that the divine oracle had not changed. The imperial city and the temple have always been at odds. The true and false saintesses were dazzlingly confusing. The crown prince, watching her restless actions, finally made his move against her. CIA, after dealing with the slum epidemic with her brother, heard the news of the Empress's poisoning but didn't immediately return to the imperial city. She subconsciously felt that this was a rumor prepared to trap her. She and her brother happily shopped and ate, only returning to the imperial city late at night. Her brother didn't understand why she would knowingly walk into a tiger's den, even when she knew it was a trap. What if something went wrong? CIA explained that His Majesty the Emperor had remained silent, while the Crown Prince was trying every means to stop her from investigating the truth. There must be some ulterior secret in all this. So she had to play along with the opponent's moves to minimize the danger to herself and her family. "You're only just arriving?" CIA was startled by a gloomy voice as she entered her chambers. It was the Crown Prince. "I heard you went to the temple. Your Highness, are you having me followed? Listen carefully. From now on, you are a criminal who attempted to murder the Empress. Such slander. Once we get to the tribunal, an investigation will clear everything up. Do you think you'll have a chance to be tried?" The Crown Prince ignored her shouts and threw her into a dark room. This place had already been set up as a seamless crime scene. "Because of you, things have become twisted. Now the people are full of complaints." Seeing the Crown Prince's furious state, she felt a sharp pain. "You just had to do your own thing. Why is it always my fault? If you apologize to me now and beg to stay by my side, I will consider letting you go. Make me let go of my pride in front of you. From the broken engagement until now, what do I have to apologize to you for? How ridiculous. In that case, Hylan is better than me." "What? Isn't Hylan my brother's man?" The Crown Prince didn't want CIA to leave, but he inadvertently pushed her into the Pope's arms. After the Crown Prince framed CIA for poisoning the Empress and detained her, CIA was unwilling to be framed like this. She blatantly threatened Hylan. "Your family's lives are in my brother's hands. If you want them to live, help me send out these 2 letters. One letter was for her brother, and the other was for the Pope. Is our agreement still valid?" Seeing the letter, a triumphant smile appeared on the Pope's face. "Prepare the carriage. I'm going to the Imperial City immediately." Meanwhile, her brother also received CIA's letter. He didn't understand why CIA insisted on staying in the Imperial City when she knew it was a trap. His old butler explained, "Perhaps it's for revenge, for the people's opinion, or for love." Love. Perhaps even the young lady herself doesn't know. How can 18 years of feelings be let go of so easily? Just then, a subordinate reported the Duke and Duchess are on their way to the capital. The news that CIA had poisoned the Empress and was detained had spread throughout the city. Hearing that the Duke and Duchess had left their territory and were heading to the capital, the Emperor finally became a little restless. The Empress was once CIA's teacher, and their relationship had always been close. And the Empress's family and CIA's family were the 2 important pillars supporting the empire. If this matter is not handled well now, it could easily cause unrest in the country. "Your Majesty, what do you plan to do?" "If the divine oracle has changed, I was thinking of having her marry Alfredo. But the Crown Prince still seems to be attached to CIA. Although the Empress's family is powerful, her life is at its end. So what can be done? If the Empress dies, we can keep CIA confined in the Imperial City, and thus keep the ducal family in check. No matter what, my throne cannot be threatened by anyone. Your Majesty, the Crown Prince requests an audience. Father, please release CIA immediately. Let her rest in the ducal residence in the Imperial City. She just tried to kill herself with poison. It turned out that CIA had used an excuse to dismiss the attending servants, and then sprinkled some unknown drug on her own food. You need to understand your position. Since she is no longer the Saintess, nor the Crown Princess consort, the one you will marry is not her. She is now just a discarded pawn. Why do you still show her pity? With such a mindset, how can you become the ruler of a nation? Withdraw. It's been 3 days. If she doesn't wake up today, I'll have you buried with her. The Crown Prince berated the physician before him, holding CIA's hand. Oh, you hate me that much? You'd rather die than stay by my side. CIA suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood and then fell back into a coma. In her dream, the Crown Prince kissed her. When she woke up again, there was no one beside her. Cuckoo. A carrier pigeon flew to her bedside. It was medicine from her brother to help clear the remaining poison from her body. The letter also told her that the Emperor had already announced that she was not the one who poisoned the Empress. Rumor has it that the Crown Prince actually didn't want to let her go, so he locked her up. What are you doing there? The Crown Prince's voice came from behind. I'm leaving the Imperial City tomorrow. CIA said, I used poison to prove my innocence. His Majesty the Emperor has also publicly declared that I am not a criminal, so I have no reason to stay. If you frame me as a criminal and detain me again, then you truly wish for my death. What if I don't allow it? The Crown Prince was as domineering as ever. At this moment, CIA couldn't control her long-suppressed emotions. You said to get engaged, so we got engaged. You said to break the engagement, so we broke it. How much longer must I obey you? You shook her by the shoulders. Obey me? Then what is it that I desire? Do you know? You could have refused my request to break the engagement. You could have turned back, even with tears in your eyes. But you didn't. My hope was that no matter what, you would firmly choose me. Is letting go of your pride so difficult? You were the one who abandoned me. Your Highness, why don't you let go of your pride and first ask me if I want to be your crown princess consort? I was trained as a political puppet since I was a child. Although it was tiring and I missed my family, I still stayed in the imperial city because I loved you. Really? You've stayed in the imperial city until today because you love me? After stepping down from the position of crown princess consort, I stayed for so long because I didn't want to give up on our relationship of over 10 years. But now I'm tired of it. I don't love you anymore. Thank you for this time. It has allowed me to sort out my feelings for you. CIA, stop. You said you love me. Why are you still leaving? The Crown Prince ran toward CIA and grabbed her, but CIA pulled out a dagger. In their struggle, the dagger cut off a lock of CIA's pink hair. It's the first time I've seen a guy pull a girl's hair and the girl take out a knife to cut it off. Was cutting her hair to sever ties an act of fate? The Crown Prince stood frozen, holding the half lock of long hair. CIA returned to her room, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. Might as well cut my hair short for good. Suddenly, there was a noise outside the door. She alertly opened the door. White hair shone in the light that I received your letter. I came to show my sincerity through action. Don't you like it? The Pope had arrived. That I'm not a saintess nor a crown princess consort. I have nothing to offer you. CIA was dejected. I'm sorry to have made you come all this way. You can go now. I'm not leaving. The gods say that whether it's a disciple's love or anyone else's, one must give love unconditionally. So what are you grieving for? The path becomes wider as you walk it. Stop banging your head against a wall. Believe in yourself and keep going. The path will become your own. The Pope comforted CIA, saying, you've had a hard time. Get some sleep. This isn't the end, but a new beginning. When the first ray of sunlight fell on the bed, CIA woke up. Looking in the mirror, she saw she now had short hair. Did you sleep well? Short hair suits you too, the Pope said as he walked in. That I cut your hair. It's not like it was some divine act. You cut it for me. Why are you still here? The Pope touched her forehead. Because you wouldn't let me leave last night. Liar. I am God's agent. I do not lie. How are you feeling today compared to yesterday? Still a woman wallowing in sorrow? Let me be honest with you. It's the knowledge you worked so hard to learn to become the crown princess that I value. My divine power is only potent when there is faith in God. How long will that last? Perhaps one day it will be pushed aside by worldly power. That's why I truly need you. I don't want you to become a tool of the temple. My strength alone is not enough. I need someone like me. With that said, are you willing to become my saintess? CIA was moved by the Pope's words. Yes, she had thought she had no family left and didn't know what to do with her future. All right, I accept, but on one condition. I need to go to the Duke's residence in the Imperial City today. The Pope smiled. The carriage is already prepared. Let's go together. Just to be clear, this agreement has nothing to do with love. I don't believe in love anymore. I only believe in mutual interests. The Pope gave a slight smile without a word, took CIA's hand, and placed a shining dagger in her palm. Things that are unseen are indeed hard to believe in. Well then, I'll see you in front of the courtyard at noon. A silver figure flashed past Alfredo. At this hour, that man was walking out of his sister's room. CIA, having packed her luggage, went to the study again to check the book that was previously used to pass messages with the ducal family. A note fell out from inside that I am not sick. It was the Empress's handwriting. That's right. The Empress knew she favored this history book. If the Empress wasn't sick, just as CIA was lost in thought, she was interrupted by Alfredo calling, "Sister, come in. Sister, your hair, it suits you." He blushed that I heard you were poisoned. I was so worried. I wanted to help when you were in prison too, but my power was ultimately too weak. Alfredo, you are no longer that child who hid in my room to escape the loneliness of the Imperial City. CIA touched his face. You are worthy of your current position. His eyes glistened with tears. Sister, are you really leaving? You know, only the royal family can live in the Imperial City. Besides, now is the best time for me to reclaim my honor. What does that mean? My lady, the carriage is ready. The Pope's man had come to pick her up. I'm leaving, Alfredo. Take care of yourself. Write to me often. As they walked along the path to leave, she was glad the weather was nice. God must be pleased with our journey together, the Pope said as he walked side by side with CIA. That if it rains, does that mean God is angry about our agreement and is crying tears of sorrow? CIA teased. Not tears of joy? Is that how you explain everything? I prefer to interpret things in a positive light. Letting go of my burdens is easier than I imagined. CIA and the Pope were talking and laughing. The atmosphere was wonderful. But ahead, the Crown Prince's dark face appeared before them. That I won't let you leave. We learned from the same book. If I can't have her, I'll destroy her. If you leave now, I'll kill you. CIA and the Pope were about to leave the imperial city, only to be blatantly threatened by the Crown Prince. Seeing that the Pope was about to make a move, CIA quickly held him back and said coolly to the Crown Prince, "Get out of the way. No one can block my path." And so, under everyone's watchful eyes, they ignored the Crown Prince. As they walked past him, the Pope laughed softly. Now the Emperor only has one puppet left. The two walked out of the courtyard. The carriage they were supposed to take was already engulfed in flames, and then it was blown to ashes. He broke out in a cold sweat. That madman, the Crown Prince. Don't worry. The Pope comforted her. This was expected. It's not a dream. Follow me. His Holiness the Pope and the former Crown Princess candidate, sitting in such a shabby carriage. I really didn't expect this. It was prepared in a hurry. Please make do. CIA's expression finally relaxed. The sunlight outside the window is so warm. I'm curious. Is everyone in your family impulsive and blunt? My mother has a fiery temper. My father is generally quiet, but he gets very heated when it comes to family matters. I think they are a passionate and warm family. His Majesty the Emperor is looking for you. Staring at CIA's short hair, the still dazed Crown Prince was summoned to the throne hall. You can't even keep an eye on one person. What good are you? I heard CIA left with people from the temple. Yes. Useless. Has Miss Nivea returned? She's not playing some trick at the temple, is she? The Crown Prince was silent-eyed. I don't know. The Emperor held his forehead. Duke and Duchess Fessenthal have already started to move. The nobles will follow their lead. I trusted you so much, and you've messed up everything. I'll go bring Miss Nivea back right now, and I'll find out why the temple took CIA. If you fail again this time, you can forget about being the Crown Prince. Meanwhile, at a palace gate on a dark and windy night, a tall man was beaten by a woman until he was spitting blood on the ground. After so many years away, there should be more people to welcome me. The Empress wiped the blood that had splattered on her face. Let's not delay. Let's go. She and a man boarded a carriage. In a world of love, every couple has their special something. The cool yet adorable High Pope, in order to win her over, is carrying out his plan step by step. The romantic escape finally came to an end. They returned to the Fessenthal estate, CIA's family home. CIA hadn't even had a chance to catch her breath on the bed before she was disturbed by a knock from the High Pope. We, who will soon be partners in the eyes of the public. He began faintly. Calling you my lady seems inappropriate. Then call me by my name. CIA. A simple name spoken from his lips. It was almost like a magic spell, awakening the softest part of CIA's heart. The morning she woke up, she remembered to prepare a change of clothes for the Pope. I'll arrange for my brother's clothes for him for now. Good morning. He was lightly adjusting his necktie. Have to say my brother's clothes suit him quite well, don't they? The two ate a hearty meal, getting to know each other's food preferences. Unexpectedly, her brother suddenly returned. You finally escaped. Her brother's gaze landed on the man with silver hair, wearing my clothes. The air suddenly froze. Silver hair? Could it be? CIA pulled her brother aside. She had made an agreement with the Pope to continue as a saintess, as the Pope's partner. Don't tell me you're still hoping for love. There was unhappiness and a warning in her brother's voice. We're just using each other. After reassuring her brother, CIA met the Pope in the study. What are you doing? There are many interesting books here. Did your talk with the Duke go well? Don't worry, my brother trusts me. But I want to ask you one more time. Am I really a saintess? The Pope was silent that you're not. All right, then what does the Pope's partner have to do? The Pope smiled, touching her face. You don't have to do anything. Just stay by my side. Even the silver coldness of this man couldn't hide the power emanating from him. Ripples spread through CIA's heart. She didn't yet realize she was slowly falling for his charm. While some are falling in love, others are being cursed out by a man. Nivea was brought back to the palace by the Crown Prince's men and was immediately met with a barrage of scolding. Who told you to leave the palace as you please? Do you know how badly I was reprimanded by my father because of you? This new saintess is truly tragic. Having a capable younger sister who is about to threaten her brother's position as heir. in a dimly lit study. A blank piece of paper was illuminated by the light of a flame. But this time, no characters appeared. Just then, her brother's call diverted CIA's attention. "You really don't give me a moment's peace." CIA responded confidently. She was skilled at handling political documents and suggested that all the family's paperwork could be left to her in the future. Her brother half-joked that if this continued, his own position would be in danger. CIA teased that the heir to the duchy didn't even have a fiancée, suggesting he find someone to marry. Otherwise, people might misunderstand and think he likes men. Her brother was, in fact, single since birth, which was the ducal family's biggest secret. Her brother half-seriously warned her that if this secret got out, he would suspect her first. Her brother revealed that the only women he had ever loved in his life were his sister and his mother. Hearing this, CIA felt happy, but then curiously asked where her brother was going. He replied that he was going to the information market. Bored, CIA continued to wander around the house and saw a holy light emanating from the Pope's room. The Pope was kneeling on the ground, praying devoutly. "Oh, I'm sorry." The door was open. "So, shall we go for a walk?" The Pope was as gentle to her as ever. The weather was getting colder. CIA couldn't help but shiver. The Pope suddenly sensed an ominous aura. He told CIA to go inside and warm up while he waited for the danger to arrive. A figure in black appeared like a ghost from the shadows. A sharp blade was pressed against the Pope's neck. "If you kill a clergyman, you will be punished by God in your dreams." He turned with astonishing agility and decisiveness, grabbing the man in black by the throat. Swoosh, swoosh. More men in black descended from the sky, surrounding him. But in the next second, CIA arrived in time with soldiers. They captured all the attackers in one fell swoop. "Did you think you could hide such a petty trick from me?" The two of them subdued the attackers and had just breathed a sigh of relief when a maid ran in hastily. "The young master is seriously injured and has lost consciousness after the broken engagement and the betrayal of false accusations." CIA's elopement with the Pope had angered the royal family and even her family. Her brother had been ambushed, left covered in wounds, and on the verge of death. CIA could do nothing but wait for the doctor to arrive. "Now you should be in need of my help, right?" The Pope came to her brother's bedside, a brilliant light glowing in his hands. He placed them on the wound-covered back, and in just a moment, her brother's wounds miraculously healed. "Is this the power of divine energy? We've become partners, so we're family. This much is not difficult for me." The Pope smiled. "Thank you. It's nothing. Seeing you smile is all the reassurance I need." When the physician who was summoned arrived, her brother was already out of danger. CIA instructed the physician to treat the other injured knights. However, because a knight's arm wound was too deeply poisoned, he faced the grim fate of amputation. "Could I trouble you one more time?" "Of course. I'm glad you're asking for my help." The Pope once again used his divine power. His golden holy light not only healed the knight, but also left everyone in awe of this mysterious power. At this moment, a maid came to report that her brother had woken up. The Pope promised to continue caring for the remaining wounded, allowing CIA to go to her brother's side with peace of mind. The Pope's tenderness and strength deeply comforted Say, "Although I still feel a little pain, I'm still so angry." The awakened brother seemed to be in good spirits. CIA said that compared to the cruelty of the battlefield, such an assassination was more frightening. Her brother only had wounds on his back. She instinctively felt that only the crown prince could have planned such an assassination. Her brother recalled that the assassins were all dressed in black robes. When they could no longer resist, they all committed suicide. He said the royal family was extremely displeased with CIA, the former crown princess candidate, joining forces with the current pope. Her brother stroked CIA's head. "Don't be afraid. I trust your choice. From the looks of it, the crown prince's position is extremely precarious. No wonder he's so ruthless." After the day's assassination and the experience of her brother's uncertain fate, CIA was exhausted and felt powerless. Just as she was sinking into self-blame, someone placed a hand on her shoulder. To fall in love with someone is to want to know everything about them. CIA jumped, startled by the hand on her shoulder. She turned, and her anger turned to surprise. "It was the Pope, that expression on your face, if you had a dagger in your hand. I might have lost my life." CIA chided him for being so quiet. The Pope said CIA was too lost in thought. He had called her, but she didn't respond. "What's on your little mind?" "I'm thinking about my own incompetence. Everyone is powerless at times. Just take things as they come. Looking at it this way, I know nothing about your holiness's age, appearance, upbringing, or personality. You're the only one who comforts me, but I've never shown you any concern. Are you starting to get curious? If you call me by my name, I'll tell you everything, little by little. It's real. CIA slowly called out his name. My parents passed away. I collapsed near the temple and was found by the previous pope who raised me. I don't know how old I am, but I should be about the same age as your brother and the crown prince. The reason I wanted to become pope is... Yes, why was that? It's late, you should go back to your room. Hey, why did you suddenly change the subject? You go to sleep first. Back in her room, CIA was about to pick up a book. The Pope took off his robe and gave it to CIA. If you can't sleep, covering yourself with this will help you fall asleep. Or I could just sing you a lullaby. Get out. Meanwhile, a guard reporting intelligence to the crown prince said the Pope was not in the temple. The last time he was seen, he was in a carriage heading towards the imperial city. The guard in charge of the assassination reported that the mission had failed. There was a man who looked like a clergyman with a lady. A clergyman? The crown prince was shocked. The man with CIA that day was the Pope, and he's so young. The next day, her brother handed her the intelligence he had risked his life to obtain yesterday. The list of nobles attending the founding festival. Sylvia Eden. The name caught her attention. The flower of high society in the past, beautiful and noble, the only daughter of the Eden ducal family. Rumor has it that after her engagement was broken, she begged in vain and, heartbroken, has not been seen in public since. Brother, I want all the information on this lady. Also, through this founding festival, I want everyone to see our ducal family's wealth. In order to make a wealthy merchant owe him a favor, he hired assassins to kill himself. Her brother's spirits were much better that day. After breakfast, the three of them went for a walk in the courtyard. The Pope suddenly called out to CIA, "Let me show you something fun." His finger lightly touched a flower bud that had not yet bloomed. Instantly, the flower burst into a magnificent bloom. CIA couldn't help but exclaim, "Divine power is truly amazing." The Pope smiled and plucked the flower. "This flower is for you. Don't worry, a flower that has passed through my hands won't wither so quickly." These sweet words made CIA's face turn bright red. Even her brother, standing by, couldn't help but grin and lean in to admire the beautiful flower. "The weather is so nice. Why don't we go boating?" "Good idea," the Pope agreed. When did these two get so close? The three arrived at the lake. When the young ladies learned that her brother, the heartthrob, was there, they all gathered around. However, onlookers began to whisper, discussing the unusual combination of the Duke of Fessentail and a clergyman. CIA, smiling, unconsciously linked arms with the Pope and said playfully to her brother, "Pick a sister-in-law for me from this crowd. We're going ahead." "Hey, don't leave me behind," her brother said awkwardly. On the rippling lake, the Pope asked CIA when she last went boating. CIA suddenly remembered the time she spent with the crown prince, but she suppressed those bitter memories and just lowered her head. "I don't remember clearly, but it must have been before I was 3. Since entering the imperial city at 3, I've never been out." The Pope playfully splashed water on CIA's face and chuckled. He said gently, "I want you to remember this moment. This is a beautiful memory. Don't forget it." When they reached the shore, CIA was careless and almost fell into the water. The Pope caught her just in time. "Oh my, his chest is so warm." Before the two could savor the ambiguous atmosphere, the sound of battle cries thundered. A group of assassins appeared. In the distance, some commoners were also crying for help in panic. The Knights of the Imperial City arrived in time. They fought alongside the Pope and her brother, repelling the assassins. But no one knew that this group of assassins was actually arranged by CIA herself. "Duke, thank you for saving my daughter." CIA had successfully planned an assassination attempt. She won the support of the empire's wealthiest merchant, consolidating her family's power. The scheming CIA was a little concerned about what the Pope would think of her, so she chose to hide it, telling only her brother. In the dead of night, CIA insisted that her brother practice swordsmanship with her. CIA understood that in this dangerous world, she couldn't always rely on the protection of her brother and Israel. She had to learn to be independent. During practice, although her brother was still recovering from his injuries, he easily disarmed CIA. Her brother said that the current Alfredo could defeat him. The child from the past, now tempered by the battlefield, had grown into a warrior and earned a new nickname, the Demon of Blood. CIA's thoughts involuntarily drifted to him. Is that child doing well lately? In a dark corner of the court, the crown prince's eyes glinted with deep hostility towards Alfredo. He angrily questioned why he had landed without permission. Alfredo calmly replied, "It was the emperor who sent him to learn how to be a proper crown prince." The crown prince stood up, coldly scanning Alfredo. His tone was filled with contempt and provocation. He questioned Alfredo's ambition, asking if he thought he could take his place just because of the emperor's words. At that moment, the crown prince seemed to regard everything around him as filth, ordering his attendants to clean the hall. Alfredo could no longer suppress his inner anger. He declared that even if he coveted the position of crown prince, what could the crown prince do about it? He stressed that he was no longer constrained by other members of his family. Since CIA left, he no longer had any scruples. The crown prince contemptuously called Alfredo a bastard. He threatened that once he ascended the throne, it would be Alfredo's death day. However, Alfredo was fearless. He stated firmly that he was no longer the easily bullied, an insecure child of low birth. In terms of strength, he would not lose to the crown prince. Just as the tension between them reached its peak, an attendant interrupted them. "Your Highness, Saintess Nivea is missing." The crown prince rushed into Nivea's chambers, and the scene before him made him furious. Asriel was leaning over, kissing Nivea's foot. The crown prince's voice, laced with anger, echoed through the room. "Yes, it's so hard for you to just stay put. And you dare bring such a commoner into the palace? Are you insane or just audacious?" The expression on Nivea's face was complex and helpless. She only managed to utter 3 words, "I am sorry." In this cold palace, she seemed exceptionally lonely. Asriel said softly that he was the only one who saw the beauty in Nivea's heart, but he was cut off by the crown prince. "Guards, throw this insolent man out of the palace." The crown prince's voice thundered. Nivea's body collapsed weakly to the ground. Her only comfort had been taken away. Meanwhile, CIA was playing chess with the Pope. A maid brought the latest news about Asriel. It turned out that Asriel had been seducing Nivea all this time and had successfully won her heart. CIA calmly instructed the maid to have Asriel stand by for now, and to report the information he had gathered from Nivea. The autumn rain lingered. At the execution ground, Viscount Malia was beheaded for murdering a noble lady. CIA and her brother watched quietly from the crowd. It was they who had exposed Malia, but it wasn't just because of the conflict with his family over the canal expansion project. There was another reason: executing Malia without my consent. "Who gave you the nerve?" the crown prince roared from the other side. Little did he know, this was the emperor's decision. He felt his power being stripped away bit by bit. Meanwhile, rumors were flying inside and outside the court. Some said Viscount Malia was originally the emperor's man, and his execution meant he had lost the emperor's favor. Others said that since the second prince's return from the battlefield, there had been many strange occurrences. Would the position of heir change? I saw with my own eyes people from the Fessentail ducal family walking with a clergyman. Could it be that Duke Fessentail has already sided with the temple? I heard the Fessentail ducal family's mines are about to start producing gems. If that's true, then their family will become the undisputed richest in the empire. All of this was a series of moves CIA made to exact revenge for the price of her broken engagement. The Pope smiled and said, "I originally thought I was using you, but now it seems I'm the one being used by you." The crown prince actually ordered the sacred temple to be burned. His impulsive act forced CIA and the Pope to separate temporarily. "Your Holiness is returning to the temple tomorrow, right?" At that moment, CIA and the Pope were sharing breakfast. "If you're free in the afternoon, play chess with me." The Pope chuckled in agreement that you're really easy to please. You played for 5 days straight, and you're still not tired of it. 255 wins to 256 losses. I haven't won yet. Don't you dare lose to me on purpose. I want to win fair and square. This woman is really competitive. The eggs are delicious. Have one. No, I'm picky about eggs. Being picky is not good for your health, you know. You even have to lecture me about eating? Haha, all right. On the side, her brother secretly watched them. They're getting along quite well. Late at night, CIA was alone, listening to the whisper of the night wind, when she suddenly smelled the pungent scent of blood. She fearfully pulled back the curtain and found the Pope standing outside her window. Da-da. Sorry, did I go to the wrong room? Did I scare you? Your Holiness, are you hurt? I heard that clergymen do not kill. So, thank you for worrying about me. It's someone else's blood that stained my robe. There was a fire at the temple, a bit of mess. Hearing that I was leaving tomorrow, someone took the opportunity to set it tonight. As long as you're not hurt. CIA's worries dissipated with the Pope's reassurance and casual demeanor. Well then, I'll see you at the founding festival. We won't see each other until then. CIA hesitated, wanting to say more. All right, there's a lot to do. I'm leaving now. With a whoosh, the Pope disappeared into the moonlight. The next day, when the Pope left, CIA did not come out to see him off. She refused her brother's suggestion to have breakfast with the Pope. She seemed busy and troubled. Hearing from her brother that CIA wasn't coming out, the Pope left with a smile, but he also sensed that something was unusual about CIA. Just then, a maid delivered a gift from CIA, a robe she had prepared for the Pope herself. All right, see you next time. From upstairs, CIA silently watched the Pope's carriage slowly depart. Her heart was filled with mixed feelings. Was it reluctance to part, or just then, a maid reported, the latest news about the only daughter of the Eden ducal family has been found. The girl's father, in league with her former fiancé, hired assassins to try to eliminate her, just to protect the family's reputation. After receiving the news, CIA told her brother she was going to save her. Sylvia, in her memory, was a delicate, mysterious, and introverted girl who seemed to easily see through people's hearts. However, after her engagement was broken, she was heartbroken and chose a reclusive lifestyle. Only recently had she started to step out of her home again. You pity her? Her brother asked. CIA said she didn't know. Perhaps she could restore her former reputation, and if the two of them joined forces, it would further solidify her own position. Meanwhile, some of CIA's good deeds in helping commoners sparked discussions among some noble ladies in society. Lady CIA is truly amazing. In contrast, what is the lady of our territory doing? They were sneering at Sylvia, thinking she was just a woman abandoned by her fiancé. Little did they know, Sylvia overheard their discussion. What are you gossiping about? CIA suddenly appeared. She helped the two up and went to the corner where Sylvia was. She had finally found her. She didn't have time to deal with those two women. She just whispered a word in their ear and went after Sylvia. The two gossips nearly fainted. She is Lady CIA. When CIA caught up with Sylvia, she was being surrounded by 4 thugs. The girl was terrified. Hey girlie, since you're gonna die anyway, why not let us have some fun? Then let's die together. The girl suddenly raised the brooch on her chest. Just then, the female guard CIA had called for a period in time and fought with the thugs. Get up, the ground is cold. CIA gently extended her hand. The girl softly asked who CIA was. Before she could answer, another assassin lunged forward, but was ultimately thrown away by the guard. Thank you for saving me. I will definitely repay you in the future. I'll go back and tell my father. Don't go home. CIA grabbed her AR-MD. Oh, you know who ordered the assassination? You think it was that heartless man, but there was actually someone else. This handwriting should be very familiar. The girl couldn't believe it was her father. Her father wanted to kill her. Why? She sat on the ground, crying in agony. Thank you for telling me. Do you have a place to go? Not yet. Then how about staying with me? Morning. Sylvia woke up in a soft bed at CIA's house. She was full of gratitude for CIA, but at the same time felt lost and helpless. For Sylvia, all of this felt like a dream, but she knew she had to make a choice about her future. Just then, a man with an 8-pack of abs unexpectedly appeared before her. Da-da. Both of them screamed. Now is the time to reveal the truth. Deliver this letter to Lady CIA's agent. Yes, Your Holiness. Everyone in the meeting room is waiting for you. All right, let's go deal with those stubborn old men. Her brother ran up to CIA. Yes, I brought Sylvia back. She will be staying with us for a while. At breakfast, her brother awkwardly asked if Sylvia liked the food. After all, he still didn't know how to interact with a young girl. The girl shyly looked at the siblings and said she would repay their kindness. CIA encouraged her to eat more. The 3 of them shared breakfast in a pleasant atmosphere. Sylvia felt that the food, which she hadn't had in a long time, was exceptionally delicious. In the afternoon, CIA invited Sylvia into the kitchen to bake bread together to give to the poor villagers. Isn't it very meaningful to help people with your own hands? Sylvia was worried she wouldn't do a good job, but with CIA's encouragement, she had a very happy time. They distributed the bread to the villagers, watching the children thank them with innocent smiles. Sylvia felt an unprecedented sense of fulfillment. Then CIA took her shopping. She picked out many clothes for her and told her that she was actually very beautiful. A fulfilling day. In the carriage, watching the afterglow of the sunset, CIA softly asked Sylvia how she was feeling. When you're feeling down, getting your body moving first is a good idea. She understood Sylvia was controlled by her broken engagement. The girl questioned why CIA was helping her so much, asking if she wanted to use her. CIA admitted that she hoped to join forces with her to take revenge on the royal family, but also hoped to see Sylvia shine again. The girl said she wasn't like CIA, who knew everything, and she didn't even know how to live. CIA told her that life is not just about love and people not worth holding on to. If you don't know how to do anything, then learn. Create a reason for yourself to live. A glimmer of hope finally shone in Sylvia's eyes. Then let's start by gaining some weight. My lady, a letter has arrived from the Pope. I miss you. Do you? Ever since you didn't come to see me off, I knew you still felt I wasn't being completely honest. I apologize to you now. I hope it's not too late. CIA's heart warmed. She asked the headmaid. I said before to throw away the chessboard I used to play with our guest. You didn't throw it away, did you? Meanwhile, the Pope's announcement to publicize the previous Pope's will was immediately met with strong opposition from the elders. A little boy was self-conscious because his hair color was different from others. A girl with pink hair gently took the silver-haired boy's hand. It means you were chosen. Your Holiness hasn't married Lady CIA yet, and Lady C, it doesn't know the truth. The Emperor even kills people in the commoner's district. The consequences of publicizing the will now would be unimaginable. The Pope stated that the royal family had tampered with and misappropriated the divine oracle. The royal family had always oppressed the temple, so it was time to risk everything and escape the royal family's control. Both CIA and he genuinely hoped for peace in the empire. An attendant burst in to report that His Holiness's will was missing. The previous Pope's will was being clutched by the Crown Prince. Looking at this unexpected gain from the temple fire, he was shocked. He stared at the invisible Nivea and roared. This will never mention your name. What the hell is going on? At that time, I was taking care of my sick younger brother. A group of people broke into my house and brought me before the Pope, Nivea said slowly, tears streaming down her face. They said my brother's strange illness could only be cured by divine power, but I had to do one thing for them. The Crown Prince was furious, so he'd been played by the temple scheme. He crushed the cup in his hand bleeding profusely. The Crown Prince demanded she explain why she had pink hair. Nivea said her grandmother came from a distant foreign tribe, and her hair might have been inherited from that foreign bloodline. How can someone with foreign blood pretend to be a saintess of the divine oracle? The Crown Prince clutched her pink hair. Right now, I just want to kill you immediately, and kill your brother first. Nivea knelt and begged for mercy. Oh, your highness, I'll do anything you say. Please, spare my brother. The Crown Prince wavered between anger and calculation. He finally ordered Nivea to go home and be on standby. At that moment, an attendant rushed in frantically. Your Highness, you must go and see Her Majesty the Empress. She might not make it through the night. Late at night, CIA was preparing for bed, but was awakened by a sudden knock on the door. It was Israel. He brought shocking news. The previous Pope's will has disappeared. CIA questioned why anyone would steal the will, since the divine oracle naming Nivea as the new saintess had long been made public. The Pope said that his recent closeness to CIA's family had been seen by many, so it wasn't surprising that some would question the divine oracle. I need to tell you the contents of the will. The story begins from the time we met as children. We've met before. My lady, bad news. Their conversation was interrupted by a maid. The Empress has passed away. The Empress's funeral was hastily conducted. For the national mourning, all forms of banquets and gatherings were prohibited for 1 month. Nobles were required to wear mourning clothes for at least half a month, and laughter was strictly forbidden. According to royal etiquette, the Empress's body should have been buried within the imperial city. But the Emperor insisted that the Empress's last wish was to be buried in her hometown. After becoming Empress, she never had the chance to visit her homeland, and now she was returning in this way. CIA looked at the coffin before her, tears streaming down her face. The Pope asked if she had a special relationship with the Empress. CIA replied that the Empress was like a mentor to her, teaching her many life lessons. The Pope was puzzled by the Empress's death. Although the Empress had long been frail, she had never requested a clergyman to see her. CIA suddenly remembered the note handwritten by the Empress. tucked between the pages of her book. It said, "I'm not sick." She then recalled once encountering the Empress on her way back from the Crown Prince's. The Empress had mentioned her reason for keeping a distance from the Crown Prince, stating that most people in the palace were there for power and ambition. The Empress revealed that although she and the Emperor were husband and wife, they were not on good terms. Just as she was about to say more, the cup in her hand, then she fainted. From then on, the Empress's condition worsened daily until she no longer saw anyone. CIA's reminiscence was cut short by the Pope. He took her hand, asking with concern what she was thinking about. "I'm thinking the Empress might not have died of a simple illness, but there's no evidence yet." Just then, the Crown Prince saw the two of them holding hands. His expression was grim. The Pope then led CIA away. Walking in the temple courtyard, the Pope suggested CIA take a short rest. "I still had something to tell you yesterday." "All right, you said then that we had met when we were children." Just then, the Crown Prince suddenly appeared. He forcefully pulled at Shia. The Pope ordered him to let go, but the Crown Prince roared like a madman. "You're the one who should let go, after toying with the lives of court ladies as you please. Shia, I'm telling you, he's the one who understood our relationship. He's the one who changed the divine oracle." "What are you talking about? Let me go." Shia struggled. "I won't let go. You're the one who's sick, Saintus. He lied to get you. Didn't you go to the funeral with Shia?" Sylvia spread rumors that she had run into Shia's brother, who was resting with his eyes closed. Someone had to stay at home, so only Shia went. He patted the seat next to him, inviting her to hang out. Her brother asked Sylvia how she was getting along with Shia and if she was used to being here. Sylvia said she was doing very well. She felt that Shia was like water. Water cannot be cut, nor can it be drowned. She envied Shia for being so resilient and independent. Is that so? Perhaps that's how it looks to others. But in my eyes, I only see her fragility. A complex emotion flashed in her brother's eyes as he slowly spoke. He always hides his emotions. I think it would be better if he just cried it out. Meanwhile, Shia's heart was being shattered to pieces. She couldn't believe the Pope had deceived her. Faced with Shia's questioning, the Pope's eyes darted away, and he said nothing. Shia turned and ran away. The Crown Prince then sneered at the Pope. "Why don't you defend yourself? You hypocrite, pretending it was for the Empire, for Shia, when you were just exploiting the kindness of others. Such a warm-hearted schemer. This is your true nature." He firmly stated his position to the Pope. "Shia might be a little confused right now, but I will definitely win this, because there was never a place for you from the very beginning." The Pope's expression was grave as he tried to retort, but the Crown Prince didn't back down. "Since she was a child, Shia has worked hard to become the Crown Princess. How could she abandon everything to go to you? In the future, I will be the Emperor of the Empire, and she will be the Empress. You are nothing but the last pope of a temple that is about to collapse." The Pope openly trifled with the lives of the people. The temple's credibility will also be in jeopardy. I'll be waiting for the day the temple collapses. Goodbye. The Crown Prince stormed off. The Pope, having collected himself, chased after Shia. His voice carried a hint of pleading. "I'm sorry, let me explain." Shia's reply was cold and firm. "There's no need. We were in a contractual relationship from the beginning, weren't we?" Shia's hands, clenched into fists, were trembling secretly. It was mutually beneficial. Other than that, there was no trust. There was never any genuine affection. So there's no need to apologize, is there? "Brother, I'm not worthy of being a daughter of the ducal house." Shia nestled in her brother's arms, tears blurring her vision. "I once swore never to fall in love again, but now my heart aches so much." Just now, the Pope kept trying to make her stay. He wanted to explain to her they had so many beautiful moments. But she felt that the Pope had many opportunities to be honest, but wasn't. She didn't want to hear any more. Perhaps it would have been better not to know the truth. The Pope asked her if she was going back to the Crown Prince. Shia said, "If it weren't for your scheme, I would have been the Crown Princess long ago." The Pope's eyes were filled with shock, but Shia left resolutely. Late at night, the Pope began to recall his first meeting with Shia when they were children. The little silver-haired boy, born with divine power, was abandoned at the temple gate. From then on, he was adopted by the Pope. However, there were many other children in the temple with similar fates. They were extremely jealous of Asriel's exceptional divine power and the Pope's special favor towards him, so they often bullied him. One day, the Pope brought a group of people to the palace. Asriel was among them. They were instructed to wait in the courtyard. The other children took the opportunity to drag him under a tree and beat him. Just then, a girl shouted at the bullies to stop. Asriel was deeply captivated by her. He knew only one person had pink hair, and that was the Saintess. In fact, he had the honor of seeing her when she was 1 year old, and now she had grown up. Little Shia drove away the children who were bullying Asriel and asked him why he always covered himself with a cloak. Asriel said it was because of his hair. Shia gently told him that his hair color was a gift from the heavens, encouraging him not to feel inferior. She took his hand, her smile radiant, and invited him for afternoon tea. The little boy was stunned for a moment. If she wasn't the palace's saintess, could I marry her if I became pope? He tentatively asked if Shia ever thought of abandoning her responsibilities. After all, she had left her family at a young age to study various things in the palace, living only to become the crown princess. Shia said that of course there were times when it was hard and she was scared, but she was not the type of person to lack a sense of responsibility. Asriel asked, what if there was another way, not to become the crown princess, but to live simply as the empire's saintess? I feel pretty good right now. A blush appeared on Shia's face. Shia, I heard you were here, so I came over specially to see you. Your Highness. Shia happily ran towards him. Looking at Shia like this, Asriel understood. It was for this man, the crown prince. To be able to touch you, I must reach the pinnacle of power. This was the first and only time Asriel had given meaning to his life. As Asriel ate dinner, his mind was full of Shia. The crown prince's appearance had made her not even glance at him again. When will she smile at me like that? Hey, what's wrong with you, kid? The child next to him was curious. He had never seen such an expression on his face before. Asriel grabbed his own hair, telling himself to stop thinking about it. Just then, an attendant reported to His Majesty the Emperor. He ordered the Pope to bring the children who entered the palace today to see him immediately. The Pope felt a vague sense of unease. The authority of His Majesty the Emperor could not be challenged. It was best to go quickly and see what was going on. Upon seeing the Pope and his entourage, the Emperor began to reprimand them with sharp words and a stern face. Who is the one who told the crown princess-to-be to abandon her responsibilities? He immediately called him to account, rebuking the Pope and asking if he intended to take the saintess away. The Pope stated that he was unaware of any such incident. In the group, Asriel began to sweat nervously. He had actually caused such big trouble. Should he step forward? Seeing that no one came forward to confess, the Emperor ordered for both Shia and the Crown Prince to be brought in for questioning on the spot. The Crown Prince stated that he did see Shia with a child from the temple, but they were far away and he didn't remember the other's appearance. Shia keenly judged that it was those two gossipy maids from the daytime. Shia asked His Majesty the Emperor what he would do to that person if he were found. The Emperor declared on the spot that he would have his mouth torn apart. How terrifying! Asriel didn't have the courage to step forward. The kind-hearted Shia turned to look at Asriel, then said formally that it was true she had chatted with a child from the temple. However, he had not said anything about her abandoning her responsibility as the crown princess-to-be. The real culprits were the two maids who had fabricated the lie. Asriel was shocked. This girl had actually lied for him. Although the Emperor had some doubts, in the end, Shia's testimony stood. The two maids were executed. It was also decided that while new maids were being assigned to Shia, she was not to leave the palace for the time being. Her recent vacation was to be considered as if it never happened. A look of disappointment appeared on Shia's face. The crown prince wanted to plead for her, but the Emperor immediately stopped him. Before he had a chance to speak, Asriel was about to open his mouth. Shia immediately stated that she would obey. Walking out of the main hall, the crown prince told Shia not to worry, that he would select new maids as soon as possible. Shia smiled brightly and said it was okay, that she would enjoy her vacation next year. Asriel decided he had to apologize to Shia in person. His cowardice had cost her the little freedom she had. Finally, he found Shia in the garden late at night. She was silently wiping away her tears. Ever since the boy discovered the girl's gentle vulnerability beneath her strong exterior, he decided he had to stand at the pinnacle of power to protect her. To achieve this goal, he studied hard. He helped others, even working so hard he got nosebleeds. Eventually, he became the Pope. It wasn't until he found another girl with pink hair that he began his plan. But before he could confess to her in person, things had already reached this point. On the other side, Shia had been lying in bed for 3 days, refusing to eat or drink. Her friend, Sylvia, was burning with anxiety, but didn't know how to comfort her. Closing the door, Sylvia met Shia's brother. Sylvia asked if she should bring more food for Shia. Her brother was grateful for her concern and said he would go comfort his sister. He quietly walked to the bedside and said softly to Shia, "Shia, I know everything. I wish I could destroy the Pope. Don't blame yourself. You can't completely control your heart. Whether you're the crown princess or the saintess of the divine oracle, you will always be the daughter of the ducal house. Don't blame yourself anymore. If you want to cry, just cry. From now on, just do what you want to do." Shia finally sat up. She opened her mouth slightly. It was unclear what she was hesitating about. The next day at breakfast, Shia still hadn't appeared. Her brother and Sylvia couldn't help but feel disappointed. Her brother told Sylvia to eat breakfast first. Suddenly, they heard that familiar, clear, and strong voice. "Please prepare a portion for me as well." Shia had pulled herself together. Her brother immediately ordered the kitchen to prepare Shia's favorite food and said he had a special gift for her. "Court lady, it's been a long time." A familiar voice sounded. "From now on, I will be by your side to protect you." It was Asha. Shia's mood clearly brightened. With her by her side, she felt at ease. Because Nivea's identity as the fake saintess had been exposed, Asha no longer needed to monitor Nivea. She had been summoned here by Shia's brother. After breakfast, Shia decided to go for a walk. Asha accompanied her. They came to a lush green meadow. The weather was charming, and Shia's mood gradually improved. "I have something to say." Suddenly, that voice she had been missing was heard. "That scent, it's Isreal." Shia's guess was right. The emperor killed the empress. But why? Just as Isreal was about to say something to Shia, Asha suddenly appeared and stood in front of her. Shia instructed Asha to get on the carriage first, then turned to the Pope and spoke first. "From the beginning, we were an alliance of interests formed for our own purposes. I used you too. But after the crown prince broke off the engagement, I honestly didn't know what path to take next. Well, I couldn't give up where all the efforts I had made for the crown prince and the empire along the way. I once foolishly thought that without me, the empire would head in an uncontrollable direction." Then the Pope continued, "Please, use me as much as you want while I still have value. I will stay by your side and help you take on the imperial family. After it's all over, I promise to withdraw from your world. The people of the temple know I'm going to marry you. Is it okay if I disappear?" Shia asked. The Pope answered him, "As long as the imperial family is judged and the people know of their evil deeds, the temple will regain the people's trust. At that time, the temple will no longer need a saintess to strengthen its cohesion. Our agreement ends there. After that, you can live the life you want." Shia felt a little disappointed inside, but still replied, "All right, I understand your thoughts. The founding day is approaching. Let's meet again then." "Okay," replied the Pope. With half a month left until founding day, Shia decided to bring down the imperial family. First, she had to investigate the cause of the empress's death. The next day, Shia and Asha, in disguise, came to a hidden shop. On the surface, it was a shop that sold weapons, but in reality, it was a shop that sold all kinds of poisons. Shia pretended to be negotiating with the shopkeeper for a common deal of 50 items and took out a bag of gold. The shopkeeper grinned from ear to ear, saying that such a large order required him to go to the factory immediately to arrange it, so he temporarily left the shop. Taking this opportunity, Shia carefully searched the corners of the shop. Finally, she found a cloth ledger. Inside were clearly recorded the names of the people who bought the poison. A name both familiar and terrifying caught her eye. Don Pavra. Isn't that Paverose's alias? He had purchased a slow-acting poison. This man is the Emperor's aide. It really was the Emperor who killed the Empress. Just then, a tall figure walked in. It was none other than Paverose. Shia stared at him in shock, unable to move for a moment. "Your Majesty, Court Lady Shia has traced the source where we purchased the slow-acting poison." "What?" The Emperor, in a fit of rage, crushed the cup in his hand. "If that's really the case." Meanwhile, the attendant the Pope had sent to protect Shia also returned. He reported that Shia had gone to the Weapons Merchant Guild and told the Pope that he had noticed an unusual customer meeting with Shia. That person didn't buy any weapons, but went to the Imperial Palace immediately after Shia left the shop. The Imperial Palace? Could it be? The Pope was lost in thought. Back home, Shia was baffled. The Emperor already possessed absolute power. Why would he still murder the Empress? If something like this were to happen again, who would be the next target? She was determined to prevent the tragedy from happening again. She had already stolen the register of poison purchases from the shop and had a piece of evidence. Just then, a maid came in and handed Shia a letter from the imperial palace. It's Nivea. She had sent over the ring she had previously flaunted and also said that she had something important to tell Shia about the temple. Shia asked Asha about the last time she saw Nivea. Asha said she only remembered the crown prince forbidding Nivea from stepping out of the palace gates. Shia immediately called for a servant to prepare the carriage, deciding to go to the imperial palace in person. Pavarose came out from the emperor's chambers and ran into the crown prince. The crown prince was puzzled as to why he was summoned so early in the morning. The emperor had heard that the crown prince had sent Nivea back to the viscount's house. The crown prince explained that since she wasn't the real saintess, there was no point in keeping her in the palace. The emperor said coldly, Nivea will soon be executed for the crime of attempting to murder court lady Shia. Is that a problem? The crown prince asked in shock, why kill Shia? The emperor sneered, "To gain an early victory. How much effort did I put in to win the temple's support? So, it doesn't matter now whether Shia is the real saintess or not. Just find a pink-haired woman and say she's the saintess. The majesty of imperial power will not allow the temple to set foot in it. So whether it's Shia or Nivea, he was going to kill them all." An attendant rushed in. On the road to the palace, a carriage exploded. The emperor revealed a triumphant smile. Shia really fell for it. "I won't let anything happen to you." In the raging flames, the Pope held Shia tightly. How did he appear? The story needs to be told from the beginning. Shia told her brother she was going to the palace. But on the way, the carriage was first tripped by a stone and then was attacked by men in black. In fact, Shia had anticipated all of this. The emperor really was going to kill her. She decided to play along, using herself as bait to capture Pavarose alive. Shia and her brother had already made arrangements in advance. At this critical moment, her brother arrived with a group of knights just in time and fought hard against Pavarose's group along with Asha. However, to Shia's surprise, a strange smile appeared on Pavarose's lips. Then he threw something at Shia. A violent explosion engulfed everyone in a sea of fire. Her brother and Asha shouted Shia's name, but couldn't see her. Suddenly, a beam of blue and white light descended into the sea of fire. Shia opened her eyes. It was surreal, and at this moment, the crown prince also arrived, but he was still a step too late. "I heard that the emperor's men might be coming after you." The Pope's face was covered in large beads of sweat. Although he possessed powerful divine energy, facing such a fierce blaze, his back was injured. He told Shia to hold on to him tightly, then soared into the air, carrying her out of the sea of fire. Afterwards, they both lost consciousness. They fainted on the ground, until Shia's eyes suddenly snapped open. Her brother breathed a sigh of relief. She had finally woken up, but Shia's heart was entirely with the Pope. She eagerly asked her brother about Asriel's condition. Her brother told her the Pope was still unconscious and his burns were severe. Shia, ignoring her own condition, rushed to the Pope's bedside. She recalled the days she spent with the Pope. That time she asked him why he chose this life for himself. He had revealed that he had met her as a child, and it was because of her that his hope for life was ignited. He hadn't deceived her. He just hadn't had the chance to explain. She had truly misunderstood him. He was sincere. Shia prayed to the heavens for the Pope to wake up soon. Finally, the Pope opened his eyes. Seeing the tear-streaked face of Shia, he struggled to sit up and embraced her. The two kissed, holding each other tightly. The high and mighty Pope, disregarding his own safety, was burned by the raging fire, all to save the woman he had cherished since childhood. Their true feelings revealed in adversity, the two couldn't help but kiss. The misunderstanding was finally resolved. However, as soon as she woke up, she ran out of the room and disappeared for the entire night, making her family extremely anxious. By breakfast time the next day, her brother, Sylvia, and Asha finally found Shia. They glared at the Pope, questioning in their hearts if this was the man who had spirited Shia away. The Pope coughed awkwardly and invited her brother and the others to have breakfast together. Shia, standing by, tried to smooth things over, saying she was fine now. Her brother asked Shia how she slept last night. The Pope stated that the people of the temple had taken good care of Shia, but her brother retorted with a pout, "I wasn't asking you." The Pope laughed heartily, while Shia looked at Sylvia and Asha. Their expressions were also full of hostility towards the Pope. "Don't think I'll forgive you just because you saved her. It's because of your despicable actions that Shia was put in such a dangerous situation. Brother, Shia couldn't help but speak up. This is the temple. Those words are blasphemous." The Pope smiled and said it was all right, stating that he would find an opportunity to explain to the young Duke. At this moment, an attendant ran in to report to the brother about the palace. At this time, the crown prince was dejected. He regretted that he had once again failed to protect Shia. He wondered if Shia would only come back to him if he became emperor. He decided he would not endure it any longer. He got up and ran towards the main hall. "Your Majesty," the crown prince called out as he pushed open the doors of the main hall. He saw a noble lady with golden blonde hair was also there. "This is Shia's mother, Duchess Pheasanttail." The lady turned to the crown prince and said, "It's been a long time." But the emperor on the throne had a hint of annoyance on his face. The lady stated that she had come to the capital early for the founding day, but the emperor questioned why she had brought the knightly order of a neighboring country with her. The lady stated that she heard the empire's army couldn't even protect her daughter, so naturally, she had to take matters into her own hands. The emperor said the matter of Shia being attacked is still under investigation. The duchess's words confirmed it was the emperor's doing. As for why she could mobilize the forces of a neighboring country, it was because she was a princess of the kingdom of Valencia. Why was the usually unyielding emperor so defenseless in front of the duchess? The reason is simply because love is fear and fear is love. But when Shia learned her mother was the most beloved princess of the king of Valencia, she was shocked. But her brother told her another big secret. The emperor had been deeply in love with their mother since he was a child. But for some reason, their mother had always detested the emperor. However, every time he faced her, the emperor's imposing manner would unconsciously weaken. Founding Day finally arrived. Lanterns and decorations were everywhere. Envoys from various countries, dressed in their finest attire, arrived in the imperial capital. Shia, faced with 2 dresses prepared for the Founding Day ball, unhesitatingly chose the aqua blue long dress that symbolized the color of the temple, simply because it had a specialist real feel to it. In the morning, the Pheasanttail ducal residence was also busy preparing for the Founding Day. Shia learned from her brother that he planned to enter alone, using his status as a knight. And her brother keenly asked her back if she had made a promise to enter with that fellow, the Pope. Seeing her brother scowl, Shia didn't know how to answer. Sylvia then suggested the 2 of them enter together. After all, there was no law that required a man and a woman to enter as a pair. And given the Pope's special status, appearing with a female companion would cause a stir. Thinking of this, Shia happily agreed to Sylvia's suggestion, looking forward to the evening. The music began, and as the attendant made the announcement, all eyes focused on Shia and Sylvia. They couldn't believe that the rumored-to-be dead Duke Eden had appeared together with court lady Shia. The 2 of them were so radiant, and her dress was so beautiful it turned heads. Shia scanned the room. "Why haven't father and mother arrived yet? Your dress is very beautiful." The crown prince appeared before Shia. Tonight, he had also entered alone. He opened his mouth slightly to invite her for the first dance, but Shia's eyes drooped and she still refused him. But the crown prince was not willing to give up and pulled her to the terrace. He said bluntly that he had something to say to her. His voice was tinged with anxiety and apprehension. He asked with concern about Shia's health and confirmed whether the rumors of her marrying the Pope were true. Shia nodded slightly, her eyes calm and firm. Seeing this, the crown prince eagerly said that if she could forgive the Pope, then she could also forgive him. "I apologize to you for what happened before. I was truly wrong." His eyes were filled with remorse and anticipation. However, Shia's voice was like a cold, sharp blade, cutting through the crown prince's heart. "You're just my former fiancé. You once tried to kill me. That wasn't my intention. It was His Majesty the Emperor." The crown prince tried to explain, his voice pleading. Shia suddenly cut him off, her eyes filled with anger and disappointment. "Stop using His Majesty as an excuse. And do you know what His Majesty did to the Empress?" Shia hesitated, then just said softly, "I'm going back first." The crown prince stood there, his eyes filled with despair and pain. He thought to himself, is there really no going back? The crown prince, who had just been with Shia, had suddenly and bizarrely died. Not long before, the 31st Pope of the Empire had graced the founding day ball. It was his first appearance before his subjects. The young noble ladies, seeing such a handsome face, couldn't help but want to talk to him. But the Pope walked slowly to Shia and naturally took her hand. They had agreed to save the first dance for each other. Everyone was surprised. Court Lady Shia's dance partner was actually His Holiness the Pope. Asriel noticed that Shia's face was a little pale and asked her with concern. Shia did not reveal that she was feeling down after her conversation with the crown prince. She just asked him back if he hadn't rested well last night. After the dance, the Pope explained that since it was his first public appearance, he had to greet and interact with various parties. Shia humbly said that he didn't need to worry about her and told the Pope to attend to his own business. At this moment, Sylvia came to inform her that the young noble ladies wished to speak with Shia. They were full of curiosity about her relationship with the Pope and asked directly whether the rumors of Shia and the Pope getting married were true. Shia was a bit overwhelmed by these gossip-filled women. She was hesitating on how to answer. Fortunately, her brother entered at that moment. The young ladies were immediately captivated by her brother's charm. They eagerly asked Shia what kind of girl her brother liked. Shia smiled and replied, "My brother likes independent and individualistic women, like our mother." Oh my goodness, isn't the Duchess the epitome of a decisive and ruthless woman? A look of fear appeared on their faces. And over here, Sylvia thinks silently, looks like I don't have much of a chance. The Duke and Duchess Pheasanttail finally attended the founding day celebration again. This was their first significant attendance in years. Shia ran over and threw herself into her mother's arms. "My child, you look more beautiful every time I see you," her mother said softly. Shia excitedly greeted her parents. Her father smiled. "Thanks to you, I am well." "Father, mother, it's been a long time." Her brother also walked over. Just as Shia was enjoying the long-awaited family reunion, a palace guard suddenly burst in, bringing shocking news. A charred corpse wearing the crown prince's clothes was found in the courtyard. Did Shia's mother really kill the crown prince? The emperor ordered that no one was to leave the palace until the investigation into who was involved in the crown prince's death was complete. Shia was anxious. Was the charred corpse really the crown prince? But her mother appeared unusually calm. This made Shia angry at her mother's attitude. Her mother only opened her mouth to ask if she planned to put the emperor on trial. Shia was surprised that her mother had guessed her intentions. Her mother stated that Shia had been working hard to enhance the family's prestige, even arranging a marriage with the Pope. All these actions indicated she intended to confront the imperial family. But this alone was not enough to put the emperor on trial. Therefore, her mother proposed a method. At this moment, a guard suddenly burst in, informing the Duchess that the emperor had decided to imprison her for detailed investigation. They claimed that a letter arranging a meeting between the two was found in the crown prince's study, and around the corpse, an item with the ducal family's special insignia was found. The Duchess smiled faintly, offered no defense, and readily agreed to be taken away. However, Shia panicked, unable to accept her mother's arrest. But her mother gripped her hand tightly, stopping her with a look, "Child, I trust. You will understand what I mean." The next day, newspapers published the news about the Duchess being suspected of murdering the crown prince. The empire was shaken. The public refused to believe it. Meanwhile, Shia planned a public trial of the imperial family and even received permission from the temple. The emperor was pleased with this, thinking that by easily imprisoning the Duchess, he had curbed the Duke's power. As for whether she really killed the crown prince, it no longer mattered. There are plenty of princes. What's important is that the absolute imperial power must continue. He didn't even care about being put on trial. He had ample reasons and evidence to defend himself. But he overlooked a key person, Péverose. After the failed assassination attempt on Shia, Péverose had mysteriously disappeared. The emperor's face was unreadable. "That man knows I killed the empress. He cannot be left in this world." He ordered Péverose to be found as soon as possible. Little did he know, Péverose had already fallen into the hands of Shia and her brother, killing his wife and now trying to kill his son. Has the emperor become so deranged? Today was the day of the public trial for Shia's mother, who was suspected of murdering the crown prince. The public was puzzled as to why Xia was not present to observe. Suddenly, the main doors creaked open. Xia walked in with Pavarose. She announced solemnly, "I must first expose the truth of the emperor's murder of the empress." Pavarose, who had been worried the emperor would silence him, now revealed in front of the public that he had, under the emperor's orders, purchased a slow-acting poison and put it in the empress's cup. Although today's trial was supposed to focus on the crown prince's death, this sudden testimony shifted the focus of the trial to the emperor. The emperor accused Xia of slander and urged the pope to preside over the case of the duchess murdering the crown prince. Just then, the crown prince walked in from outside. The entire city was shocked. In fact, he had not been killed, as the rumors claimed. Instead, he had co-conspired with the duchess to stage this play to reveal the truth. The crown prince revealed that he had already found out that the emperor had indeed secretly used Pavarose to poison and kill the empress. And on the night of the founding day ball, when the emperor learned that the matter was exposed, he sent men to attack the crown prince. Fortunately, with the duchess's help, the crown prince managed to survive. It turned out that the one who wanted to kill him was the emperor, not the duchess. Faced with all the evidence, the emperor was speechless and could only offer incoherent defenses. In the end, the pope ordered the immediate release of Xia's mother and placed the emperor under confinement. The imprisoned emperor was furious. The emperor roared madly. At this moment, the crown prince stepped forward. He said coldly, "I'm going to inherit this throne now. So the only thing I can do for you is give you a painless death." The imprisoned emperor mysteriously disappeared. When Asha came to report the news, Xia and her people immediately took action and began to track them. And the one who helped the emperor escape was none other than the crown prince. The crown prince took the emperor to the Eastern Imperial Villa. Asha tracked them to their location. In the villa, the crown prince casually poured a glass of red wine. The emperor asked grimly, "What do you plan to do next?" The crown prince smiled coldly. "Answer me one question first. Why did you kill my mother?" The emperor said disdainfully, "I am the emperor. I can kill whoever I want." A glint flashed in the crown prince's eyes. "You made me lose the two most important people in my life." The emperor said contemptuously, "I can find you a new partner. I can even find you another mother, as long as you obey." Saying this, he raised his wine glass. "Come on, let's have a toast." The crown prince watched the emperor drink the red wine, feeling a mix of emotions. Suddenly, the emperor spat out blood, glaring at him angrily. "You actually poisoned me. Do you think you can ascend the throne this way?" The crown prince replied calmly, "I'm no longer willing to be your puppet." The emperor died with his eyes open, collapsing in a pool of blood. At this moment, Xia and her group broke through the guards and rushed into the villa. The scene before them left them dumbfounded. The emperor had stopped breathing and died, and the crown prince calmly admitted to the act of patricide. "I could no longer tolerate such a heartless father." The pope also followed them in. He had once planned how to put the emperor on trial, but now all his plans had come to nothing. He stepped forward and gently closed the emperor's eyes, praying softly, "Rest in peace." The crown prince, with tears streaming down his face, said he was willing to accept judgment. The duchess comforted him. "We will help you." Xia wanted to say something, but swallowed her words. The next day, the pope announced to the public that the emperor had died in an accident while resisting arrest. Although the news shocked the public, the situation did not get out of control under the pope's handling. However, will the crown prince really inherit the throne smoothly? Not necessarily. The secret of the crown prince's patricide is still in the hands of Xia's family. They said they could keep his secret, but on the condition that the crown prince must become a good emperor. At this moment, Xia handed the records of the former emperor's crimes, collected by her mother, to the crown prince, indicating that he could use this evidence to ascend the throne. The crown prince took it, but said faintly, "Thank you, but I plan to have Alfredo visit after the founding day." The moonlight of the night scattered like silver sand. Asriel's figure quietly appeared at Xia's window, as if in a dream. Inside the room, Xia was looking through the letters Asriel had sent her. She was overjoyed to suddenly see him arrive. Asriel smiled and cleverly disguised Xia as a blonde lady, while he changed his hair to blue so they wouldn't be recognized in the crowd. The two walked hand in hand, sweetly, through the bustling streets. The crowd on the street was buzzing with discussion. Although Asriel and Shia were in disguise. The sharp-eyed public still recognized them. Oh my God, isn't that court lady Shia and His Holiness the Pope? However, seeing that they clearly did not want to reveal their identities, the people tacitly pretended not to see them. Asriel, carefree, paid no attention to the whispers around him. Instead, he casually bought all the flowers from an old grandmother. When the two walked to the statue of the Empress, Shia offered a bouquet of flowers and bowed deeply. This silent gesture moved the surrounding public. However, the current situation of the temple made people feel complicated and uneasy, because Asriel had once changed the divine oracle for his personal desires, causing chaos. Although he had now reproclaimed Shia as the true saintess, the public's trust had already been shaken, starting from the day after their date. The temple was frequently besieged. Shia came several times, but did not see Asriel. On the other side, Nivea's younger brother was receiving his final treatment. He looked out the window at the angry crowd outside, feeling worried. Asriel, on the other hand, decided to use his divine power to heal every patient to atone for his mistakes. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Appearing at the door was, surprisingly, the attendant who had been loyal to Shia in the palace. It turned out that Shia had sent him to take care of Nivea and her brother. She had even thoughtfully prepared supplies and money to help them settle back in their hometown. Nivea was moved and asked the Pope to convey her thanks to Shia. Finally, the crowd gradually dispersed. Asriel had fallen asleep at his desk. Tall stacks of documents were piled up beside him. Shia approached quietly and said gently, "Go sleep in bed." Asriel murmured in his sleep, "I can't sleep yet." Shia smiled, leaned over, and patted his shoulder. "Aren't you already asleep now? Get up, I have something to tell you." A woman took the initiative to propose to the man she loved, but was met with a refusal. When Sia, her face red with shyness, said to Pope Asliel, "Let's get married," the Pope's eyes widened in surprise. He thought he was dreaming, but Sia firmly told him this was real and that she was serious. Asliel thought for a moment, then said gently, "Wait a moment. Can you come somewhere with me?" He then took Sia to a dreamlike place. The sight before made her gasp in awe. Although it was winter, this place was like spring, with flowers and plants everywhere. Sia eagerly asked what this place was. Asliel explained, "This is a mountain passed down through generations of popes. It's also my favorite place. I'll never forget the view I saw the first time I came here. It was then that I resolved to become the Pope, and that one day I would come here with you. Today, I have finally fulfilled that wish." As soon as he finished speaking, Asliel knelt on one knee and took out a ring. He said affectionately, "Actually, I've been very troubled recently, worried that you would refuse me. Can you wait for me for 3 months?" Asliel said gently but firmly, "I still have responsibilities to fulfill. I must first restore the reputation of the temple. Only after that can I be with you forever with peace of mind." "All right, I'll wait for you." Sia nodded tearfully. This man was truly responsible. Asliel gently placed the ring on her finger. In the days that followed, both of them were incredibly busy. Due to matters in their territory, Sia's parents couldn't stay long and left the capital the next day, leaving her and her brother to handle the aftermath of the founding festival in the capital. Meanwhile, Asliel spent his days healing the old, weak, sick, and disabled of the empire, dedicated to rebuilding the temple's reputation. The empire's second prince, Alfredo, successfully ascended to the throne. With his outstanding wisdom and experience from the war, he became a beloved emperor. While helping her brother with his duties, Sia often found her thoughts drifting to Asliel. He would often appear on the balcony like a phantom, and the two would drink tea and discuss official matters. Whether they were together or apart, Sia felt a sense of peace and contentment. Just like that, 3 months passed quickly. Finally, with the blessings of their friends, family, and the temple, the two sweetly entered the hall of matrimony. They promised to love and respect one another. Thank you all for your continued support. The story of the price of breaking an engagement concludes here. If there are any side stories, I will continue to update. Please look forward to my next work. As the bride and groom were concluding their cheerful first dance, the sound of dignified footsteps came from the entrance of the grand hall. The emperor strode in, and the entire hall fell silent. People bowed one after another to pay their respects to the emperor. Alfredo saw his older sister Sia's slightly flushed cheeks and said with a smile, "I just managed to get away from my duties to rush over for my sister's wedding. My sincerest blessings to you both. Sister, may I have this dance?" Sia nodded, and the two began to dance gracefully. The surrounding guests murmured among themselves. Weren't the imperial family and the temple on bad terms? It seems that with Lady Sia's presence, everything has changed. On the other side, Asliel pouted slightly, a hint of jealousy rising in his heart. He secretly vowed to properly punish his little wife for causing such a stir tonight. The wedding banquet ended and night fell. Sia had changed into a soft nightgown, her cheeks faintly flushed. She gently pushed open the bedroom door. Asliel was already waiting for her. He walked forward, lifted her in his arms, and placed her on the soft bed. Sia noticed a bottle of wine by the bedside and asked in confusion, "Who sent this?" Asliel smiled. He said gently, "It's a gift from my parents, wishing us a blissful night together." He leaned in close to her and whispered, "Tonight, why don't we share a drink first?" Sia smelled the faint, pleasant scent on him. Her cheeks grew even redder, and she didn't know where to look. She suddenly remembered something and asked, stammering, Clergymen can marry, but they haven't learned about those things, have they?" As soon as she finished, Asliel froze for a moment, then let out a low chuckle. He gently took the wine glass from her hand, his deep voice laced with a hint of challenge. "Underestimating me." Before she could react, he leaned down and pulled her into a tight embrace. His warm breath tickled her ear, making her heart race. She was lost in this night, woven with tenderness and intimacy. Sia couldn't help but feel a flutter growing in her heart. In that moment, she knew this marriage was not just fated. It was the home she had willingly chosen. The excited young couple was late getting out of bed for breakfast. Sia's parents and brother had already imagined countless scenarios. Sure enough, the Pope, that legendary 7 times a night man, was at this moment holding Sia, refusing to let go. The young boy who had just become a junior aide stood outside their door, his face beet red. Knocking on the door to call them for breakfast would be courting death. At the dining table, the conversation inevitably turned to the assassins at the wedding. Her brother Laius calmly stated that all the remaining conspirators had been imprisoned, but he feared the late emperor's faction wouldn't give up so easily. Their mother said firmly, "We must eliminate these remaining evils." Before she could finish, Sia and Asliel finally made their late appearance. The moment she entered, Sia playfully blamed Asliel, calling him the master of sleeping in, which made the whole family burst into laughter. Their mother lovingly told the two to hurry and sit down for breakfast. During the meal, Sia asked her brother if he had any plans for the day and if he wanted to go out with her. Laius replied helplessly that he was buried under a mountain of administrative work. "I really can't get away." Hearing this, Sia's eyes twinkled, and she mysteriously brought up Servia. She's been doing so well in her studies lately that she's been awarded a scholarship by the university. "Brother, can you help me tell her?" It turned out that Servia had quietly applied to the university 2 months ago. Unexpectedly, Laius readily agreed. Asliel leaned close to Sia's ear and whispered, "What are you up to?" Sia chuckled that why Dent's brother needs a little push from me. At the university's administrative office, Servia was looking with a puzzled expression at Laius, who had suddenly appeared. "Your Grace, what brings you here? Is there something you need?" Laius seemed a bit awkward, but still smiled as he handed her a letter. "Sia sent me to congratulate you on receiving the scholarship." Servia was taken aback that I already knew about this. Sia should have known for a while now. The atmosphere between them was subtle and awkward. Outside the office, the maids were already eavesdropping with great interest. To break the silence, Laius asked, "What made you decide to return to the university to continue your studies?" A confident smile appeared on Servia's face. "I used to always live for others. Now I want to live for myself, just like Sia, starting with my studies." Her radiant expression infected Laius, and a warmth spread through his heart. Just as the maids were quietly scoring their conversation, Servia suddenly said, "Your Grace, you should probably come here less often in the future. It might cause gossip and inconvenience you." But Laius smiled and said, "I don't care about rumors. If my presence can be a source of support for you, why would I shy away? Don't forget, you're like a sister to me." These words made Servia flinch slightly, and her cheeks flushed red. Does he like me? Her heart was in turmoil. But at the last ball, Sia had described her brother's type, and it wasn't her. Servia couldn't help but shed tears, stammering incoherently. I think I'm a little confused. I should go. Servia stood up. Seeing this, Laius instinctively grabbed her hand. Did I do something wrong to make you cry? Please don't go. It's okay to be confused. In the 3 months since Sia and Asleel's wedding, things hadn't been entirely peaceful. But thanks to everyone's efforts, the political situation had gradually stabilized. The remnants of the faction that tried to overthrow the new regime were eliminated one by one. Life was finally returning to normal. On this day, Sia's mother rushed all the way from their territory, heading straight for Sia's residence. It turned out her mother had a strange dream the previous night. In the dream, she and Sia were lying side by side on a grassy field, gazing up at the star-filled night sky. Suddenly, a bright shooting star streaked across the heavens. After waking up, her mother couldn't calm her heart, so she rushed over through the night. Seeing her mother arrive, covered in sweat, Sia was startled and quickly asked what had happened. But her mother just smiled and waved her hand, saying she just suddenly missed her daughter and wanted to see her. But her eyes inadvertently fell on Sia's face with a hint of scrutinizing doubt. In fact, Sia's condition had been a bit strange these past few days. She always had a poor appetite and felt weak, but she didn't think much of it. Until that evening, just as she was about to retire to bed with Asleel, she suddenly felt a wave of dizziness and fainted onto the bed. A panicked Asleel immediately summoned a doctor. After an examination, the doctor brought joyful news. Sia was pregnant. Upon hearing this, her mother exclaimed, "My dream was a conception dream." The happy news spread quickly, and her brother also rushed over with Servia. The previously tense atmosphere turned warm and joyful because of this news. Sia finally woke up. After learning she was pregnant, she was overjoyed. She quickly pulled her brother over and asked, "So you two finally got together?" Her brother scratched his head and said with a bit of shyness, "It's just that I'm such a straightforward guy. I really don't know how to pursue a girl." I had to ask Asleel for a lot of ideas. As the group was chatting lively, Sia's parents also came in. The room was filled with laughter and a warm atmosphere. 2 years later, in that beautiful paradise where Asleel had once taken Sia, 2 adorable children were running and jumping, calling out Daddy and Mommy in their sweet, childish voices. Asleel held a child in each hand, while Sia stood beside them, her face beaming with a contented smile. With this, the side story of The Price of Breaking an Engagement manga comes to a perfect end.